when you were young, what did you think big? Did you always have these lofty goals, or did you have to learn to do that? I guess is what I'm getting, is because, and who were you exposed to? Like when I grew up, I always say that in my area, I didn't really grow up around anyone who inspired or motivated me in my field of people I met. But my dad would give me the biographies of people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and people like that. And those people became the people that inspired me. So most of the people that inspired me were in books.
Yes.
They weren't anywhere else.
Sure.
Who were those people for you? Where did you interact with them? How did you connect with them? And how did they change the way you thought?
Obviously, as you know, I grew up in India. We were very poor. We didn't have, food to eat. We didn't have place to stay. But the thing that none of us lack really is imagination. And it's really let your imagination run wild while everybody's trying to contain you into who you are and define you who you are and trying to protect you by telling you what you can't do, right? Everyone will say, oh, you are born in a poor family, your destiny is pre-written. You can at the most become an accountant and go find a government job that will actually be there for you rest of your life. Anything you're trying other than that is you're going down the wrong path. And out of purely a good intention to protect you, they actually want to contain you to say that is not possible for you. So they're limiting your belief. And what really interesting I found was my mom just was she's alive. She just unbelievable amount of faith in me. So my dad will say, you will never go anywhere. So why are you trying here? Just go get the damn degree in accounting or something so you can have a job. And my mom says, no, he's very smart. He can do anything he wants. And then she would say, sky is the limit. And later I realized in my life that sky doesn't exist. Sky is simply a figment of our imagination. And what she was telling me was, in her own way, your imagination is the only thing that limits to what you can do. We create our own sky. Like when you go from here to the moon, you don't say, Mom, I just passed the sky. There is no sky. So point is, we create these imaginary boundaries for ourselves. I come from this background, so this is my sky. I'm a woman, this is my sky. I'm a brown person, this is my sky. And everyone creates the sky until you get there and you realize that was all in my mind. It never existed, right? So when I was young, I would look at the moon. And what really interesting to me was I am looking at the same object that the richest person in the world, and he doesn't look at it any different than I can. So I am that richest person in the world because I have the same power that they do. And in my mind, it was about there's nothing that I'm sitting here when I look at that star that anyone else can do any differently than I can. In fact, I can look at them better because I am sitting in a darkness and the sky is so much more beautiful than in a city under the light. You can't even see the stars, right? As I came to the United States and then I started to meet and learn from different people. And as I continued to grow, I started to surround myself with people who had, even bigger. So I thought I was the big fish in the small pond until I realized there was a big pond out there and I was a small fish. And then I started to grow again, right? And I think, a lot of the people that have, inspired each one of us have been the people who have gone on to change the industry. Now, obviously, today you and I probably know most of them and we met them. But when I actually were being inspired, I knew their name, but I've never met them. Now we get to meet with them. And now you can at least look at them and say how much they change your life. But I can tell you that the biggest inspiration for me or biggest mentor for me has been my own life. Life never stops teaching. It is us who stop learning. So just every experience we have, if we keep an open mind, we can learn from every single person we meet. Even that homeless person, if you can give him 5 minutes of your time, he will tell you, about his life story, what got him into where he is, and maybe hopefully you won't make that mistake.
Yeah. I've often thought that the people that are always learning in any situation naturally succeed in whatever endeavor they have. And when I'm hearing you speak about these ideas, which resonate with me completely, like very strongly, I start thinking like today, the challenge is that we're not always choosing effectively and curating carefully who influences us.
That's right.
Because there's just so much influence. I was reading a study the other day that said the average human is exposed to 74 gigabytes of information every day. The average iPhone is 256 gigabytes and a fancy iPhone is 1 terabyte. Which means that 74 gigabytes a day, give it like less than 4 days and you're already at a full storage of an iPhone.
Yes.
That's a lot of information. And it's hard to know what's useful, what's useless, what's a waste, what's an investment, because we're just inundated. How could you recommend to people to learn to filter and choose what to give? I'll give you a common example. Like, a couple of years ago, it was like, everyone was like, you have to be in NFTs. You have to do this. You have to and then everyone's like, you have to invest in the stock market because now it's this. And then it's like, you have to be an entrepreneur. And it's like, everyone's getting, now you have to hustle. We're in hustle culture. And so you see this messaging.
Fad messaging.
Fad messaging that just constantly pushes people. And because people don't know their own values and they're not sure about what they really want from life, it becomes very easy to get distracted. How would you guide people into not getting distracted and knowing what is right to focus on?
Well, I think you go back and saying, why am I doing it? Let's assume whether it's pick anything you want, whether it's an NFT or a crypto or whatever. How is that what I'm going to do is going to improve someone else's life? Would it improve 1 billion people's life because I bought NFT? If the answer is no, then why are you wasting your time, right?